All right. So, we should probably tell everyone why this is late.
Yeah, so...
Everything broke. All of our tech was just garbage for a day.
It didn't exactly break. Here's what happened. We were upgrading some hardware. I put a post, or I posted something in the community section on the YouTube page about this.
We're gonna look. You tell them what it was.
We were upgrading my hard drive in my laptop.
How long did it take us to do that?
Like way too long and too much anguish and just pure hatred for technology.
I know that we're gonna look like scrubs for this. All right. I've been using my PC gaming stuff for a long time. I've been upgrading hardware for a long time.
Yeah.
This one just hated.
Yeah. Like it was the hardware that hates.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was the hard drive that hates. For anybody like that's an SCP fan.
So what happened? Right. We're gonna go through it really quickly.
Yeah.
Is so we're upgrading his M.2 drive, and
Yeah.
he bought a standard drive. Now I told Jack, hey, make sure you open up your computer, your laptop, and make sure you have the right. He didn't check.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that.
So we had to return it, right? So that was a 2-3 days wait on that. We had to get a T5 screw driver, which was another day wait. We had to, then when we returned it, we came back, and then what we tried to do was clone his old hard drive onto a external.
Right.
And what happens is, his hard drive is from 1994, and because that external's not up to date, it took a little while, and then some data was lost later on, and then we had to redo everything. Like basically, the main thing is, kids, the hard drives are bad, okay?
Yeah, so just don't make a backup file that you can recover. Don't clone unless you can clone directly to the hard drive that you're putting in the computer.
Yeah, we made some mistakes along the way, and for the last day and a half, we've just been real tired because it's just anger.
And I have spent nearly all day trying to get all the software and all that good stuff that makes this possible back on the computer.
And while all this has been going on, I have been suffering from extremely just horrible allergies. And I have this bad cough right now. So you may hear it a few times, but either way, during this whole week of trying to get things done, we've not really gotten much done because just all the chaos of just the workflow, really not being able to get started.
Been a lot of fun.
I mean, look, we've had a lot of downtime, so we watched a couple movies, we listened to some music, some real funny music, mostly just more parody fun songs as well as some rap and rock and stuff like that, and tried to make the best of it while we were stuck in this limbo state for a little while.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, we may be a little late on this video by probably a little bit, pretty good amount for the people who do watch normally, but I will say that we still stick true to our plans, even though it may be delayed due to, honestly, the most chaotic week of our lives.
Yeah, we've had some software failure before, but the hardware is a little different. Starting fresh was real aggravating.
And I've been trying to overclock my graphics card this week too. I had a crash. I had one crash, and then I bumped everything down a little bit. We've had a week. We've had a week. But we're back on track. This one's a little delayed, but, thanks for sticking around, everyone. And, hope you guys like this, this talk that we have this week. We have some topics actually laid out this week, right?
Hey, look at us. We're professionals.
We've had a lot of time to think, thus meaning that we've, not done very much, but we've thought.
Well, all right, so here's what happened. So, from October 1st to October 7th, as you can see on the screen right now, the Steam Next Fest for October of this year was going on. And
just consider that this came out like a day ago, really.
Well, it's
because we were wanting to do this, but we got just delayed because of all the hardware. So we're gonna go on with the plan anyway.
Yeah, well, and like recaps are good.
Yeah.
You know? So here's the thing.
It's really interesting as well.
It is. There was a ton of games that debuted, or did I say debuted? That's the wrong word. A ton of games were showcased.
Yeah, Steam put a lot of things up front for indie developers this week.
They did. That was a good thing to see, because it's not often that you see. You just don't see that very often, right?
They don't often get the recognition that they often they deserve it, because
they don't have the power. Like, they do deserve it. I think maybe they don't get the recognition because they don't have the game dev powerhouse behind them, right? Making all the graphics perfect and all this stuff. Because
a lot of the games you're going to see today might not have cutting edge graphics. They're probably not going to be completely ironed out. And some of them aren't releasing for quite a long time, but they are a good, showcase of what a small team really can put together. And a lot of these are mechanically very sound and fun looking.
Yes. So, I don't know if you want to go first or if you want me to go first. I got a couple of, I got 4 games pulled up.
So
Make sure to add to my wish list.
Right now, I'm on the actual page itself with all the games, but I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and, technically 6 pulled up. We're not going to show that 6th one because it's only for the memes. But there is a game called Succubus with Guns, and while I'm not going to show it here because, I might get, straight up flagged by YouTube and also Google for it, we're probably just going to leave it there, alright? It's a Succubus. With
guns.
With physics. We'll call it it has physics. And I don't know if they're right physics, but they're physics, and I saw it and I had to click it just to laugh at it a little bit. Now, I'm not saying anything bad to the developer themselves. You're free reign to make that kind of content, and I'm happy that's someone put the effort in and made that thing, I guess. Not my thing.
Right.
I laughed at it just because it's kind of silly to me. Maybe that was the intent. I don't know. Not to call shade on the developer or anything like that. I'm sure they're actually working very hard on their game. And I just want to say though, it was kind of silly to me, and I got a good laugh out of it. And it was pretty silly all around for me. But either way, we do have a lot of games pulled up now, and so yeah, I'll go ahead and start it out here.
All right.
And so you will probably see this time, instead of just the blank void of our logo, you actually get to see our screens this time.
Yeah,
we've
figuring stuff out.
We've had a lot of time to contemplate. So I think the first one I'd like to start on is Quest of Wizard.
All right.
And hold on, let me get my cigarette here. Either way, so Quest of Wizard is an interesting one to me. 1 second. Oh shit. This executive's calling.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, either way, let's go forward. Do you want to step out for a minute for that?
I don't. Yeah, I might do that.
Okay, so I will continue forward. I know that this is a bit off the cuff right now, but let's continue forward. So they have a demo currently that you can download, and it is planned release date of December 1st. That's about 7 weeks out, right? And for Quest of Wizard, it's a classic action platformer set in a fantasy setting. And it goes through difficult levels and dangerous traps. I'm reading right from it, but I think this is a very interesting thing. It's more of I would call it something you'd play in an arcade game, like an arcade area. And I'm really into those arcade titles because that's just where I always, felt at home. Really, those old arcade machines, and a bunch of people playing D&D, and stuff like that. Those nerd clubs. Really, we'll watch a little bit of the video here, and so you guys can get a kind of a vision of it. I think it's very interesting. It has a very flowing type of combat, a lot of enemy variety from what I've seen, and it looks pretty interesting. I'm kind of over around just, I don't know, I'm keeping my eye on this one right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack.
I'm back.
Yeah, so it just looks interesting. It looks like something you'd see in an old arcade, nerd club, is what I said just a minute ago.
It reminds me of like Mega Man a little bit, and like the way that, like you're it's kind of like the 2D running through the Mega Man, or like our like older Mario games, stuff like that. But I obviously was on the phone. I don't know what you said, but
hold on one second. My video capture cannot pick up whenever I do go into the video part, so they did not see that. However, I just want to make it clear, recording is back on for it.
Okay.
You'll see a skip there, but you'll know if you're listening to the audio of it. Either way, this looks very interesting, nonetheless. And I think that, you can see some of the videos here, actually. The game looks very, very focused in a way. It seems like it not trying to do a whole lot. It's trying to be a very run and go, play the story of it, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
Yeah.
Jack, would you like to take on for the next one?
Yeah, we can do that. So, let's see here. I got a couple of them that I have put on my wish list, and oh, look at that. All right, so I got to put my birthday in. I'm gonna cut this out.
So, whenever you put your birthday in, you are born in 2021, correct?
Yes.
Right. And just to make sure, your birthday is February 7/11?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
Right.
Anyway, so I have added the D&D game Dark Alliance to my wish list. I added all these games to my wish list so I wouldn't forget, because everybody forgets. I'm sure y'all forgot. It's happened to me. Anyway, I'm a long time gamer. Okay, so Dungeons and Dragons is my shit. I like it. I don't get to do it very often, but you got I won't go into full video mode, since we found out that doesn't work quite so well.
Right. We are using a different recording for this right now, because we found that our normal recording is not able to capture our Chrome pages. So
Right.
we are still learning a bit about it.
Oh, so you got Driz.
Drist.
Yeah.
So this game here, I've seen a lot about it, right? I was really following it until it was close to release, and then it just didn't live up to expectations. However, I hope that in the coming months they're able to really iron it out.
Yeah. It's got
it's more of a, you know what it is?
I'm hoping that it looks like it's all right. So it looks, graphically speaking, it looks pretty well done.
Yeah.
Looks like it's got pretty good graphics. I don't know. And it appears I don't know if I blow this up, if it'll cause my recording to stop.
It will. That's what happened with me.
So, bear with us. We will get a software ironed out that doesn't do that. Anyhow, you've got feet, trees, and stuff like that. That's what this is here.
It looks very, on paper right now, it does seem to take a lot of the keynotes from the old Baldur's Gate games. The one, like I said many times now, I finished the first one not too long ago.
Yeah.
And, I finished it before, but, I replayed it again. And I'm always looking at Dark Alliance games. Dark Alliance is one of those franchises I really want to see more of. Because it's, 4-player cooperative kind of stuff. You slam through a bunch of goblins. It's just really fun.
So, here, it looks like, what is that? Alright, so you can get the deluxe edition for 20% off at $47.99 right now. through October 22nd. Or you can just get the game 25% off. It's $30, $29.99. It looks like the only DLC for the game right now is the soundtrack.
Yeah, I think it only came out not too long ago. I don't know exactly when it came out, but it's been a little bit, but not too long. But yeah, that's, I really hope that in the coming months they're able to iron this one out specifically. And stay tuned because we have some other game later on after this that we're going to talk about, another point about a game that needs a little bit of ironing out. So,
all right. You want to
go to
flip-flopping?
Yeah,
That's probably good.
We'll flip-flop. I have more games right now than you, so I'll go through like these two real quick, and then we'll just flop back to yours because I have a lot more here.
All right.
And that way we're not,
Yeah.
So, Lodestar. This one looks really interesting to me. I know that's, look, space sims are my thing. I love, Elite Dangerous was a game I got really into. I mean, probably to a crippling addiction level. And that's where I feel like I'm most comfortable on a lot of those games because I like having a spaceship. I want to be a space cowboy. So, Lodestar, I'm going to read from the description like I did just a second ago. Lodestar is a crafting, base building, adventure game. You can play alone, but it is better with up to 8 friends. Jeez, that's pretty interesting. Lost in space, you have to survive by gathering resources to improve yourself and your ship through tech upgrades and help you navigate through 8 hostile planets. So, about that, right? This they say the minimum requirements is a GTX 1080, and that's a card better than mine. So that's a little concerning, nonetheless. But I believe them a little bit.
Yeah.
This game looks really good.
Very so games of this type seem to often require better hardware.
They do, and I think it's because it's very hard to put all the processing power behind the whole star systems and everything else within it. They have a mining situation as well, which we saw a little bit of that in the video. I know I can't pull that up now. It's not really wanting to show it. Oh, there it is. It's showing a little bit. Well, never mind. Either way, it does look very interesting. The mining, the planets, they have underwater exploration, and that looked very interesting as well. This is a game that's going to be on my radar way more than probably the rest of them, except maybe another one here, or maybe one or two of them. But this one's probably the one that's on my radar the most.
I got you.
So let's go on to the next one real quick, because I have just tons of games here, because I'm a crazy person. And so we have Into the Pit. Now, like I said, we can't show the video right now as much because our software. This game looks like Doom. If it was magical.
This is the trailer we were watching.
Right. Actually, so the photos seem to be right from the trailer themselves.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. That's good for it. Now, so you can see a little bit of gameplay there on the recording here. This one is working, apparently. But either way, it looks really interesting. One of the guns that they showed, well, I say guns, but one of the spells they showed looks like an SMG coming out of your hand. And that would look pretty cool. This one I might wait to pick up if I do pick it up. I'm not sure if I would because I like Doom, and I like the Doom 2016 was fucking awesome, right? It was awesome, but I don't know exactly if I'll be picking this one up. However, I like those kind of games. We're gonna go through about this game again once more. As a member of a family of lore hunting mystics, you and your cousin Lorindia separate and wander the land, following rumors of occult power. After discovering a demonic pit in a nearby village, your sister, once prolific letters, grows silent. Something has gone terribly wrong, and now it is up to you to journey into the desolate hamlet under dark Eldritch skies, Eldritch Blast. What did
Because why not?
Yeah. So what did she discover? What great power has this village unearthed? Then the chaotic magic part of it, where they say key features, it looks chaotic as hell. It looks very interesting. I'm always down for a shooter game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Especially one with a story. I hope the story's pretty good. I might download this demo actually at some point and try it out because I really like story games and I like story shooters. I'm not one for the Call of Duty shooters.
Right.
But this one looks like Doom, which is definitely the ones that I really like.
So, yeah, I agree with that. Like, historically, I have played Call of Duty, but I've never played it for the campaign necessarily.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I've only ever finished one of the Call of Duty campaigns, but I tell you, I finished when I play a Doom game, I'm sitting down to Doom.
yeah,
Like, I mean, you got that music playing and
Yeah.
the shotguns loading and it's just this looks like, in a weird way, very, very Doom-like, but with magic. And that is a weird combination that I never knew I wanted until I saw it.
right.
So, Jack, what's the one for you next?
All right. So, I put Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
I'm very excited for this one as well. Now,
Yeah.
this one I will be buying no matter what.
It's it reminds me of like Borderlands.
So it is. It's actually in the same franchise.
I got you. So, and I enjoyed that very much. It seems like the developers put a lot into the artwork here. I will also, I guess, read from the description because that sounds like a good idea.
I would like to say quickly that in Borderlands 2, there was a DLC called Tiny Tina's Wonderland or what was it? Escape from the Dragons. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you go to
Yeah.
this for a small DLC, and it seems like they really just wanted to make a smaller game.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be like the whole big as the main franchise.
Right.
Which is fine with me. I didn't see any new heroes. Actually, no. There are 4 new heroes. That's what I remember that. Now, they do have magic and stuff. But it seems to be based off of Borderlands 2's DLC, which I really, really like that DLC. So,
Yeah.
very, very interesting concept. I hope this spins off into multiple of an offshoot franchise, honestly.
It probably, I would say if it does well, there's a good chance it probably will.
Probably why they named it Wonderlands instead of Borderlands. Tiny Tina's Borderlands or something.
Right.
They seem to really want to push this as its own thing.
Right. So currently there's not a it's planned release date. Coming soon is all we've got. So about this game.
Now, they did talk about this at E3 as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So about this game, you embark on an epic adventure full of whimsy, wonder, and high-powered weaponry. Bullets, magic, and broadswords collide across the chaotic fantasy world brought to life by the unpredictable Tiny Tina. Roll your own multi-class hero and loot, shoot, slash, and cast your way through outlandish monsters and loot-filled dungeons on a quest to stop the tyrannical Dragon Lord. Everyone's welcome, so join the party, throw on your adventuring boots, and be chaotic great.
I like that.
I like that. That's a good.
You know what? I always like to see a D&D reference thrown in.
Yes, absolutely. So is this? Hold on. Is this a co-op?
Yeah, 4-player co-op, I believe.
All right, online co-op.
You know what I say? I say when this comes out, we'll definitely have to play it together.
Yeah, because I saw this party after the Defeat Evil thing here, and then that made me interested in whether or not it was co-op, which it looks like it is. Obviously, you got the single-player online co-op, LAN co-op, so looks like it's got full controller support. If you don't prefer, I guess, mouse and keyboard
For a shooter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll admit it. I've sat back on Borderlands and just played it with a controller, hooked it up to my TV from my laptop, and Borderlands is one of those games that really just does well sitting back playing.
It does. I've got Borderlands 3 on the Xbox, so
Yeah. It's one of those games you can just. And the thing is about Borderlands is that once you own a copy of it, it's one of those games that you really don't have to buy every time they come out.
Right.
Unless you really want just more Borderlands.
Right.
Each Borderlands game is essentially just Borderlands again.
Yeah, and so where that's bad with some games, I know it's not with Borderlands. It doesn't seem to be anyway.
You know, the Borderlands gameplay really, really is focused on just the, you know, grind nature of it. And if you're a guy, or, you know, and you really want to play Borderlands it'll be there. And it'll be there to be like, hey, look, it's time to grind, homie.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to grind hard now. Mm-hmm. And you're going to forget to, like, take care of your life for a little bit.
They did, like, something I like about them, too, and I don't know, like, so I can't say that I've played all the way through the game. I'm not going to say that, but, because I haven't. But they seem to be very large games.
So, the story of them aren't always that long. You can typically beat the story pretty quickly, but they normally throw in something at the end game, which is, they don't really throw it in as much as it's just emergent gameplay in a way.
Right.
You know, there's the farming that comes with it. So once you beat the game, you're typically going to go through again.
Yeah.
Borderlands 2 had I think it was the legendary system. It wasn't a legendary system. It was something else. Either way, once you beat the game, you go up one difficulty. And then you have the same character, and you just keep grinding. You do the same things over and over again. But the fun of it is that everything just gets exponentially difficult.
Yeah.
And you get exponentially powerful.
Right.
So, you know, it's all about, it's a balance act, but what happens is that Borderlands goes for a weird approach where the game starts out slow, but the higher level you are, your death and the enemy death is like triple speed.
Right.
So the game just gets faster. It's like Diablo or one of those, like, you know, hack and slash, like ARPGs where it's very like the game just gets faster and you get faster to death.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't say I have
hopefully better as well.
Yeah, no, the gameplay gets almost always better.
I mean, you as the player. You know,
oh,
it's
yeah,
getting harder.
yeah.
I hope you're getting better as you're playing.
Yeah, that's the learning curve for a lot of people. When you try out a Borderlands game, you know, you get up to the higher tiers of it, and if you're not able to really just fuck shit up, it's gonna fuck you up. And but you get a lot of tools to deal with it. Like, you know, Zane in Borderlands 3 has, you know, cryo, shoulder-mounted cannons. You got grenades and shit like that. So you really kind of just, it becomes a balancing act of, like, not as much how much ammo and how much you have. It's more about how much can you scrounge up during a fight.
Right.
And throw it.
Right. It's, I mean, you know, so this, you know, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is described as whimsical. It's, I don't know if whimsical is the right word, but it's kind of that, like,
fucked up whimsical.
Yeah, it's like that out there kind of like weird Alice in Wonderland type, like, I don't know, just like existence.
It's look, Borderlands has always taken the kind of messed up like approach where, you know, the mentally messed up kind of like fuck you kind of shit. Like Dr. Zed is the guy who makes sure everyone's alive, right? Like he's a doctor. And, like, he's always shown with, like, blood all over him and a fucking bone saw. Like, he's just crazy. Yeah. It's just a crazy, whimsical, like, and whimsical's not the word to describe it, really. But that's the word that the developers would probably use. Because if you make these games, you gotta be as crazy as the games.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
Definitely interesting.
So, what you got up next? So,
I have the Dragoness Command of the Flame. This one looks like really interesting. Honestly, this is the one that I'll probably, I say this every time, keep my eye on the most, but this is really actually the one I'm probably going to buy. This is the one I really want to buy. So from what it looks like to me, it's a roguelike, meaning that, you know, I don't know if anyone knows what the roguelike term means, but it's comes from an old game where, you know, you just go until you die.
Yeah.
And then once you die, you basically just go again until you die. And the point is to eventually get really far along and, you know, beat the game or whatever, you know, whatever's planned for it, right? But Excuse me.
You dying?
Yeah, I'm having those allergy coughs right now still. All that drainage... all that drainage went down to my throat, and I'm kind of a little bit screwed up. So, excuse it a little bit. But, nonetheless, I'm trying to get this video, going because...
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to talk a little bit because my throat gets a little scratchy. Alright. So, this game looks really interesting to me. It has mind flayers and D&D-like monsters.
Oh, this is the one that's set up kind of like a tabletop.
Yeah, it really looks like
they
something...
took a tabletop and dropped it into a video game.
Yeah, it's almost like you, like it's like a one-shot in D&D. Where you just, you go until the thing's done. It's just whatever. Like, it's just you and your guys, chilling, playing D&D, hoping you win. And, so this is a HOMM inspired, I don't know what that means, but inspired adventure with a roguelike twist, embarking on an epic quest across the Drathir Peninsula, a land ravaged with wandering factions of dragons. You take on the role of a commander recruited by the Dragoness in her bid to conquer and bring peace to the world. Finding yourself in a ruined capital of Newenborn, it is down to you to rebuild this once great city. Only by recruiting a powerful beast army and managing your resources will you be able to prepare yourself for the dangers ahead. Where only keen strategic thinking and tactical skill will see you emerge victorious. See, I don't know if I have keen strategic thinking and tactical skill because I couldn't even get through that halfway without having to mess up 100 times. Now, this game looks really interesting though. You guys can see from a little bit of the GIFs that they have playing, the Giffies. So, I'm going to start calling them Jiffies. Just to really get at some guy who's like,
yeah,
say GIF.
It's a meme.
Yeah, a meme. So you see it looks like a very you know what? I'm gonna say this, and you're probably gonna be a little upset, but because it's your favorite thing in the world, is that this looks like a chessboard.
Yep.
It looks like a chessboard.
I mean, that's where strategy starts.
Oh, I know you love it so much, but it looks like it. It looks like. See, if you look, how they're moving is that you move into their square, it automatically attacks.
Yes.
And that just looks really interesting to me. The way it looks like is that, you see the dragon attacks the demon thing, and it kills it instantly. The little one, though, attacks, and then he has to, it gets to retaliate.
Right.
Which means that there's some kind of health pool system on top of a chessboard.
Right.
And that looks really interesting to me. It looks like one of those games that you'd see, in the older days of gaming where...
This is like Final Fantasy Tactics stuff.
Yes.
HOMM, by the way. I looked it up while you were going through it. It's Heroes of Might and Magic.
Oh!
What inspired this.
I've heard of that game. Never played it, though. So, it looks very fun. It looks very artistically styled as well as, it's almost like claymation. I don't know if that's really the design behind it inherently, but it looks kind of claymation-y. They look like models on a board. They look like someone took the stands off of them, put them on a board, and they came to life. Kind of like, Super Smash Bros. Or something.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I really like the look of it. It looks very beautiful. The game looks very, very beautiful. And with a lot of dragons and stuff in it, I mean, that's just awesome.
You really can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with dragons. So it requires a GTX 650 Ti. Most people are going to have something equivalent by now. This would probably run on most anything. No matter what, I think this is one of those games that I could really see myself getting deep into. It is only single player, though. I could see a reason for them to make it multiplayer.
Yeah.
Maybe in a battle situation where you could battle with your friends or maybe even team up, have a dual system, I don't know.
Yeah, I would see a co-op situation but not co-op necessarily, more like PvP.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. I would like to see something like that. But nonetheless, I mean, who's going to disagree with a really good story with a tactical basic?
Right.
I mean,
so the use of the words, and it's real hard for me to get away from it because it burned itself in my brain. But so you keep saying tactical. It like I keep looking at the I guess like the battle arena or whatever that you end up in.
Yeah, this one right here where it's the square with all the chessboard.
So it reminds me very much of like how Final Fantasy Tactics was laid out.
Yeah,
it was a fun game. Like that was fun. It was different for that game, that like franchise, right? Like it was different, but it very much felt like that was a place for it. Like it was entertaining.
It's something that really, I like the placement of it.
Yeah,
where you have placement is very important. I could see you really getting screwed up if you just didn't have your team laid out right.
Right.
Like, you could have a perfect team, but if they're separated too far from each other...
Well, and the thing... So, alright. Something that this... If y'all hear a bunch of squeaking, my chair is getting replaced. So...
oh, no, not the chair.
Yeah. It's got to go soon. Anyway, something that this allows for...
Yeah.
This kind of like this battle style or whatever it allows for is like ranged characters become ranged, right?
Yeah.
And melee becomes melee. Like a freaking knight has to be close to hit you, right?
Right.
But a ranged character doesn't, and that includes if something like I don't know what all weapon systems they have in this game. I'm assuming it's it's appears high fantasy, so I'm assuming magic. There's probably like ranger type characters in it.
It seems very based on monsters themselves, so I'm sure there are some types of monster enemies that will have a type of weapon that can go like, you see the demon here has a whip and a sword. I'm sure he could probably do something with that.
Right.
I like how it's laid out because the whip is actually like on the board. Right. Like it's not just something he pulls out of his infinite pockets.
Right. But so like I guess to the point maybe that I'm trying to make is so a lot of games like if you can hurl a fireball at somebody, most games the combat system, there we go, that's what my brain was searching for earlier. Anyway, the combat system when like you have a playable character that like wields magic and can like hurl fireballs at people, like they're within striking range of a sword, right?
Yeah, it's very equal opportunity for attack.
It is,
which makes not very much sense when you consider that a caster should probably be far away.
Right? Yeah, and like you see so the benefit of that you see in some games, you just don't see them in like a ton of games,
right?
But with something like with this type of combat style, you end up with like you can stand across like I'm gonna call it a board because that's exactly what it looks like, and it's likely designed off of a board like to begin with. Yeah. But so like you can stand on the other side of the board during combat and hurl a fireball, and in order for the enemy to like retaliate against that particular character of yours,
they're gonna have to
get close. Yeah. So
it seems like if you took D&D and you put it on a chessboard and made it a video game. Yeah. And I like that.
That's what this looks like, yeah.
And there's even an upgrade system for your city. Now, I don't know much about it, how that works, but it seems to be about, building your city back up. Right. Maybe by doing that, you gain a bunch of passives or whatever to help in combat. Right. I'm sure in late game, it'll be a whole lot easier.
Well, it had a reference to like building or amassing an army or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get better units out of it also.
And since it's a roguelike, maybe upgrading your city is actually a permanent thing, right? Even when you die, you continue, like you just build power overall.
Yeah, it'll definitely. I'm interested in seeing this game and how it works.
I would definitely be interested in playing it. I think this looks really, really interesting. Very fun. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks very tactical, which I think is missing in a lot of those kinds of games. And turn-based really has gone the way of the dodo a bit, and I'd like to see it come back.
It is, like, tactical combat systems a lot. I think the reason they've heavily disappeared, they're not. I don't think they're completely gone because the Final Fantasy VII remake that I've got, it has that it is open action,
Yeah.
right? But it is also you do have I can bring a menu up real quick and swap skills and stuff.
Kind of Kingdom
and it
Heartsy.
pauses time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kingdom Heartsy, but without the. I don't think Kingdom Hearts has the pause time. I can't quite remember. It's been a long time since I played them.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played them, but it's so games have migrated more towards this open action, combat system, which is fine. I have no qualms with it.
No, I mean it makes very appealing action combat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Call of Duty combat, right? It's the run and gun or the whatever you're doing, but it's the run and gun aspect of it. It's you're in the action, which is good. I enjoy that.
Well, I mean I would like to akin it almost to, when the N64 came out.
Yeah.
How many people were making 2D games?
Right.
And, now that we have a very action-focused game experience with a lot of games,
right,
it's hard to bring back those elements because those elements were typically made out of, because they were limited.
Right.
Those used to be a limitation, not a feature. In a way. No.
Yeah.
And that's only because they couldn't make things that look so big.
I agree to it. I agree with that to an extent because
some games were a choice with it.
You're controlling a lot of the games, in this game it appears as well. A lot of the games you're controlling a party, right?
Yes.
So you can't just you're not hitting one button and then having everybody swing the sword or whatever. But at the same time, you had the games during the era that turn-based was primarily how these games functioned. You also had, A Link to the Past and stuff like that, where you had your open action combat.
But even still, it does feel like, no matter how we look at it, I'm happy that indie developers and smaller game companies are bringing it back. With Baldur's Gate 3 coming out soon, I don't know how soon. That one's going to be a while off, right? And Divinity Original Sin was the game I talk about a lot. With you specifically, it's one of those games that just... it reminded me of how good it felt to play a real tactical system.
Yeah, because that's what it is, right? That's what's at the heart of the turn-based system is you have time to strategize and use
oh yeah, I mean, look, I've had teams
set up what skills and stuff. It's more than finding a rotation. It's all right, I have time to sit and strategize here and think about it. It's like you referenced it looking like a chessboard. That's really what turn-based is it's
a chessboard.
You have time to stop and think about, all right, so if I do these actions, this is likely the outcome. It's not, and it doesn't always go that in depth, right? If you put a lot of time in your characters,
for you it has gone that far with chess.
Well, all right, and there are games where it does go that in depth, Final Fantasy Tactics is one of them. I brought it up because it's the epitome of these types of games. So even though earlier games had turn-based style system and all that stuff, Final Fantasy Tactics had a 3D battleground layout where you altitude mattered. Stuff like that. So
which is very interesting. I'd like to see this game just develop over time. I don't know when it's coming out. It says right now that the planned release date is still, to be determined.
Yeah.
Either way, they have a good system to start now.
Yeah.
I hope that the developer can continue forward with this idea because this is a fantastic thing. I think we should see in the industry more often is tactical games made.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, Jack, what's your next one?
All right, so I put, I got Robin Hood Sherwood Builders pulled up here. It seems very much like it says right here, manage your village, that's kind of an interesting concept to me. It looks, if you go through the photos, you're hiding in like the bush and you're getting ready to kill, whatever this game is. But
looks like the game that we're about to talk about not too long from now too.
It looks very much so like another game.
I think that's not a bad thing though. It looks very good.
Yeah, it does. It looks very good. It's got a planned release date, to be determined or to be TBA.
To be announced.
Yeah. So, let's see here. Hood Sherwood Builders is an action-adventure RPG with city-building elements where we will take the role of a classic hero who fights against the tyranny and injustice that haunts Sherwood. As Robin will fight, hunt, craft, steal, and crafting system. And of
Stealing
course,
system for me.
Yeah. So
look, I like to own a majority stock in the world through gold piles alone.
Let's see here. And of course, help the local community grow in spite of the Sheriff of Nottingham's regime, all within an open world environment that can be freely explored.
So they've really gone with the theme of Robin Hood.
Yeah, it's so 4 gigabytes of RAM needed, GeForce GTX 550 or an Intel HD 620.
So pretty standard, like most cards will have. Most people will have that if they're playing games on PC.
Yeah. It just looks. I mean, I watched the trailer. I pull it up and let but I don't want to break the recording here. I mean, it looks real good. Looks like very, very, very interesting to me.
I think the physics on the cloak.
Look at it. It's
there's physics on the cloak, man.
Yeah.
That's I don't know, man. I've always really liked these kind of I've always really liked these. I don't know if you've
seen that or not, but the skill tree, right?
Yeah, that looks pretty expansive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I think the stealing mechanics, if they're worked out pretty well, will be the only way I play.
Well, I mean, it's Robin Hood, right? Stealing from the rich, giving to the poor.
I'll steal from everyone.
So, I don't know. It just seems really interesting to me, but
definitely something to look at. I mean, I could definitely see that.
Download a demo right now.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So that's another thing with this whole showcase is that a lot of these games have demos.
Yes, that was a big thing. They had a lot of live streams on them. I watched a little bit, not a whole lot, honestly, because of all the stuff we mentioned in the beginning of this video that was going on. But there was a lot. There's still one more title in there.
Yes, there is still one more from me. Is there any more from you?
Just the other one that we've got to talk about.
Right. Well, I started it out. It's only right that you finish this one. So are you ready for me to go on to mine?
Go ahead.
I was just pulling it up, really, but you can keep going if you want.
No, you go ahead.
All right. So this one here is one that we looked at.
Yes.
Now,
yeah.
Please excuse the Morrowind graphics, but I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. These are indie developers, remember that. And, I think that looks... The look is distinguishable.
Yes.
And it looks very... Like, the game itself has its own style.
Right.
Nonetheless. Even if it is graphically a bit less than probably a lot of us are used to.
Right.
Which is something I called out whenever I first saw it. But... Nonetheless, its art looks great. It looks like they really did put a lot of time into the assets they made, even if they were a bit more clunky. And I think that's still, a lot of people look at graphics and judge a game. I'm looking at the mechanics, really.
Yeah, and that's, I don't like that people do that. I do not like it. Everybody, and that's the whole Skyrim thing for me.
Yeah.
And I don't like, I hate to keep coming back to it on this channel, but, here's the thing. The game looks good. It doesn't make the game good, right?
Well, look at Majora's Mask. A good game comes from the mechanics, and I think the mechanics of this game look interesting. So,
yes.
This one here, it has a bit of a trailer, so we can actually show a bit of this. It'll actually pick it up on the recording. It looks very mechanic heavy.
Yeah.
It looks I would almost call it Dark Souls-y.
Yeah.
I don't like that term. Because I feel like it's thrown around a lot, but nonetheless, it does look very action combat with very punishing mechanics. the swords look. I mean, they look huge, and I'm kind of a sucker for big weapons.
Hey man, look, everybody likes Cloud's Buster Sword. That's all I'm saying.
Well, why would you not want to wield a big ass hammer?
Right.
You know, and who cares about realism in your fantasy game that much?
No, I mean, look, it's a retreat, right? Like,
You know, look, fantasy games can be realistic, and I believe there is a place for it. But damn it, give me a sword the size of a mountain.
yeah, I don't know if everybody saw that or not, but like, there was a dark hallway, and like, you had a torch, and he tossed it down it to see if there was anything down the hallway.
Right, and you know what's funny is if you looked on the back of him, his axe was bigger than his chest.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that's awesome. And there even are a couple races as well. You got dwarves and humans, and it looks like the humans really pushed on this one as it normally is. I mean, the human is the default, as always.
I think maybe what it is so this goes back to the accessibility, or what is it? What was that really dumb quote?
Which one?
The one that everybody hated. The reason everybody dislikes difficult games. Like, they were talking about Elden Ring, I think, maybe.
I don't remember.
But like
exactly.
accessibility.
Yeah.
Is making games accessible, right?
Yeah.
So part of that, like, what was it? It was something I saw on like the Elder Scrolls 6 or something like that, and they were talking about like why we'll probably never see Shadowfen, and it's because
Shadowfen would be way too difficult.
Well,
if they did it right.
Alien,
yeah,
right. Like, so, like, there is a place for that, but like not everybody's a sci-fi fan, right?
Well, it's
so
almost like the cradle.
fate.
It's the cradle of life there.
Yeah, but like the race is reptilian. You know, it would not make sense.
Well, you can't even walk in there.
Race.
If you walk in that area, you're gonna get poisoned from the air.
Right, but like, so the point, I think the point that I'm trying to get at, I guess, is I think probably the reason they push like the human race so heavy, or like when there's a humanoid race,
yeah,
they push those so heavy because like not everybody is a sci-fi, buff or like fan, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Now I will say that this also comes on GOG, which is owned by CD Projekt Red, the people who made Witcher. Now, I like to point that out only because I don't know if I saw it on the other ones, but I know I saw it on this one. GOG is completely DRM free, which means that if their servers close down, doesn't matter. You own the game physically on your hardware.
Gotcha.
Like, you own it on your actual hard drive. You download the actual files. There's nothing else with it. And you can update or not whenever you want. It's not like Steam where the game's automatically updated, stuff like that. It is a more, let's be honest, it's a more higher, I guess not higher end, but PC focused people who are willing to put in the effort more on the mechanical side of it.
Right.
But for the people who actually really want that kind of thing, which I've been considering actually making a lot of my purchases on GOG. I haven't as of yet, but I've always considered it.
Right.
Because owning a game without DRM, meaning that I own the game, I own the files, there's no key, there's none of that bullshit.
Yeah, you don't have a gatekeeper.
Right, and that is very appealing to me, and I have to me it's no hassle to go download an update.
No.
So, I'm considering if I wanted to buy this game, I'd probably buy it on GOG. Speaking of buying it, it's only $20.
That's not bad.
That's, you know what?
It's really not bad.
For an indie game, that is a fantastic deal for it. And right now, it is actually 20% off until October 14th. So, if you're wanting to pick it up now and, go ahead and buy it, or download the demo itself, you can buy it now. There you go. It released October 7th, which is yesterday. And, look, it looks like a great game.
So this one released the last day of Next Fest.
Yes, so basically they, it's kind of like a big thing for them probably to
be
really
featured and release at the same time. I bet that helped them a lot.
I'm sure it did. And they have 194 reviews and they are 97% very positive.
That's good.
So that's a fantastic review from people. I'm sure that this pulls in a lot of older RPG guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that's people like that need a place like that, and
yeah, like not all of us want to fucking play Skyrim.
And exactly, and I would like to say, let's read it, because we can. We should. It's a grim new threat that looms over the Central Kingdoms. The borders protected by a fierce king's knight that are no longer secure. The fearsome orc clans, more numerous than ever, lurk on all the roads. The proud nomadic peoples of the steppes are on alert. For strange beasts prowl the darkness. Not even the stout dwarves hidden in their underground places seem safe from the threat. From the unknown tunnels of its mines, a foul army of hideous creatures advances irrexibly. Dang. That sounds like some real, like high fantasy shit.
Yeah.
Here it is. So they actually do have 4 playable characters. They have Tukaram the Barbarian, Nagar the Dwarf, Sargon the Knight, and Zoe the Amazon. And they all have unique strengths, weaknesses, and fighting skills as a hack and slash through your way of a blood-drenched quest to save the world from the faces of chaos.
Who doesn't like a good hack and slash game?
And who doesn't like to save the world from chaos? Like, that's such a, that's a PlayStation 2 era game.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, that sounds bad. But man, those are like my favorite games.
Yeah, man. Like, Dynasty Warriors was fun.
Yeah, we talked about that. Samurai Warriors was mine, but Dynasty Warriors, same game, same franchise.
Yeah, it's the hack and slash concept. It's real fun.
So it actually has hacking off limbs and using them as weapons.
That's freaking awesome.
That's barbarian, awesome. Man. That is very I'm gonna go berserker. Your limb fell off. My weapon broke. Your arm is now my sword.
Yeah.
And battle orcs, trolls, golems, demons, skeletons, swords of malevolent enemy creatures such as you explore treacherous tombs, frozen fortresses, demon spires, deserts, temples, and palaces.
Oh, so they did build a lot of biomes for this.
Yeah, I mean,
that's interesting.
I'm really. This one really looks good. So actually, apparently, this is a re-release of a classic. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, so this is actually it says, we are happy to bring Blade of Darkness back to life, an enduring classic that at the time of its release inspired many games in the action-adventure genre.
When was it originally? Does it say when it was originally came out? Because that blindsided me just now.
Here it is. Blades of Darkness is a game developed in 2001.
Okay. And
so, yeah, you know what?
I just missed it.
I did too.
Happened. I just missed it.
You know what? No matter how I know that a lot of that kind of just invalidates a little bit of what we just said, but
no, I think it's. I mean, re-releasing a game like that's a pretty big deal. Like,
not a lot of companies want to go back to their 2001 library.
No, and that explains the graphics and explains,
apparently we just missed this game.
Yeah,
but nonetheless,
and I would have absolutely played it.
We re-engineered the game to work on modern PC hardware, which is such a large undertaking. People probably don't realize how much that is.
Yeah.
It's
the reason consoles nowadays aren't reverse compatible and stuff.
Well, think about it. There was MS-DOS at one point.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're the same anymore.
Nah.
But now it goes up to 4K resolution and new display settings, improved overall stability, and at the same time, gameplay content and story are untouched. Fuck yeah. Featuring all the game's quirks and charm.
So it's not a remaster, it's not a nothing.
All they did,
simply a re-release.
All they did was retool it to work on modern hardware and said, that's it. This works now, and that's it.
I like that.
And you know what? A lot. That's how you do a re-release.
Yes.
To all the game developers out there, probably the 3 of them that maybe watch this video one day, listen to this. Don't fuck with the mechanics.
No.
Don't touch them. Don't even look at them. Don't mess with them. Don't even go near them.
Right.
Just
make it your eyes and make it plug into what we're using when we're using it.
Make it work for Windows 10 and then walk away. Sell it for $20 and we will buy it day in, day out.
Yeah.
Because I want these old games back.
Yeah.
And you can't play them anymore.
That I'm almost guaranteed to buy this game at this point.
You know what? It's 20% off right now.
Yeah.
And it's $11.99. $12.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm gonna buy it too. This looks like a whole lot of fun, and it works on modern hardware, which is the biggest part of issues that come in. That's why people don't play Daggerfall.
Right.
That's why you don't play Daggerfall.
Right.
Because if you want to play it, you got to do a lot of work. Like, you got to open up DOSBox. You got to install DOSBox, probably.
Yeah.
Or run it in
'cause
CMD.
PowerShell.
Yeah, and you got to open up DOSBox, type it all in. You got to use the ISO file as if it was putting in a disk. You got to what is it? What's it called? The word. You got to mantle it, not mantle it. You got to put it, like, burn it on, like, actually, like, I can't remember the word, but you know what I mean? You got to actually act as if the disk's in. You got to fool your software to believe you have a disk in.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the game's free, but you still have to do all this to just play a classic game.
Right.
That's
messed up.
You just buy it for $11. I would rather, and it's free, like for Daggerfall.
Right.
I would rather pay $10 to have it
where
work.
It's already just retooled and you ain't gonna mess with it.
Well, there's no reason for a developer not to. They're leaving money on the table for people and old fans who want to come back to the franchise. If you wanted to come back to the franchise, you're probably not going to want to buy. Like, look, you took a step away from gaming for a while.
Yeah.
You know Morrowind.
Yeah.
Do you want to step right into Skyrim?
No.
You want to step back into what you were comfortable in. You want to play the games from the beginning of the franchise, and you know what? You can't anymore. You need 3 different computers to play all of the damn games if you really wanted them to function.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's just not something we should have to deal with as players.
Just sheer gaming experience. Okay?
Yes.
Is what I think probably, it's my opinion, but like what I think this boils down to is sheer gaming experience. Like in the description, it talked about, having this profound effect on like a lot of different games at the time, and that's important. Like
that's a very important thing.
That means that this game was like, I'm really pissed that I missed it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would have. I don't feel like it. I know for sure I would have played this game. I don't know how I missed it.
And what it requires to play it, the requirement.
Probably Windows 95.
The requirement for it is Windows 7, 8.1, or 10. That's it. Like, that's really it. You gotta have a dual-core processor.
So anybody can play this game.
You could play this.
I mean, like you
could play this on a Chromebook, probably.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is that if you want to bump it up to 4K,
hey, hold up. You said Chromebook, all right. Let's see. You were talking about that work just a second ago with Daggerfall. Like, Steam gets real fucking dumb when you try to make it work on.
Okay,
on
with GLG maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, but still, you could probably run this on a Chromebook hardware, not Chromebook.
No,
Chromebook.
I understand that.
But nonetheless, if you want to bump it up to 4K resolution, you can get a 950 GTX 950, which is a generation behind mine. I have a 1050 Ti. Mine, I could probably put this game up on 4K, even though I don't have a 4K resolution screen.
Right.
And fucking play this old classic on a 4K TV or whatever.
Yeah.
And imagine that. Like, imagine if we hooked this up in the living room and just fucking ran through it.
That'd be awesome.
You know what? I think one of us should buy it, and we should hook it right to the TV, plug a controller in or something, like, and just fucking sit back and just run through it.
Heck yeah.
And, I'm looking at it here. They don't seem to have controller support, but here's the thing. Steam has a controller support function.
Right.
And I'm sure we could probably tool it up.
Right.
And you know what? That sounds fun to me. Sit down, play it with like an Xbox controller, or, I don't know how many keys are in this game. Maybe even bring out my gamepad or your gamepad and a mouse, set them on the couch, and just fucking play this game for like a day.
That sounds,
I'm
really interested in this now.
I think we should do it. I think that sounds like fun. Jack, what's up with you now?
Well, it's not so much me. So, the next one I've got on here is New World, and the reason I have it on here is, well, number one, because I'm interested in it. Number two, Spy has purchased this game. Spoiler.
Okay. I see what it is. You're trying to go lead into the next topic a little bit here.
Yeah, I went through the games. I know I didn't have very many, but this was a part of the Steam Next Fest, and I mean, it looks really like we've talked. We had the New World review. It seems very interesting, and I want to hear a little bit from somebody who's actually played the game, not somebody who's like complained because they had to wait 4 hours to play the game.
Well, all right. So are you asking my opinion of this game?
Yeah.
Well, Jack, look. This game has a lot of issues, but there's a big but. Really, really big but. Nonetheless, let's get into it. I got a little distracted. The thing about it is, this game does not fucking work very much. The UI, like, I don't even know how to start with that. The UI bugs out. When I started the game, I had crashes every hour. Every time I walked into a town, it would crash. Not every time, actually. Sorry. I had a 2/3 chance I would crash. I did the math. I did it. I was sitting there. I'd been playing for 14 hours, like fucking almost straight. You remember. I mean, look, that's probably part of the issue. This one took a little bit longer to make. Now, nonetheless, 14 hours straight, every hour on the hour it crashed. It takes 5 fucking minutes to get this game to boot up on my computer. 5 minutes from the time I click it to the time I get in.
All right, look. All right, so I got 2 things before we move on from that.
Yes.
Okay, number 1, I have seen your loading screens on ESO.
Yes.
So 5 minutes does not seem outlandish to me.
It's a lot when it crashes every hour.
I don't disagree with that.
Now, going forward, I'm gonna
hold on.
Okay,
hold on.
fine, Jack. Let's go on.
On the crashing thing. Do
Yes.
you think it's instability in the game, or do you think there's so many? Because here's the thing. There's a whole lot of headlines out there right now that this game is shaking up the MMO landscape, like legitimately, not just like people talking about it, like it's happening. So, do you think it's because it's possible that there's still too many people for the underlying infrastructure, or is it simply the game?
So I'll tell you this: it must be the game, because people who have 2080, 3080, 3090, the highest end graphics cards right now are popping. They are actually breaking these cards. This game is and it's only doing it to certain cards.
Okay.
Now that means that mine's safe-ish.
Ish.
I have had bugs, and I mean it.
You play around with that overclocking, and
Right.
it won't be.
Well, I did do overclocking just to get the game to run stable.
Okay.
Now, before I did the overclocking and I did a bunch of other shit, I had to turn on dynamic resolution, a bunch of shit. It just didn't work. All right? It was really just did not work for a long time playing. I mean, you think about it, I probably spent about 2 hours just waiting for the game to start up every time it crashed. Now, overall, right? I've had one I'll only describe as the game world deleting itself.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by this is I was sitting in town and I started seeing these flickering textures, right? And what happened was these meshes that were completely not meshed. Like, you know what it looks like when you have a flat mesh where it's purple, pink, green, like all the colors of the rainbow sitting in there? Yeah. Everything started to close in on me. Like, it came from far out, and the game world slowly got smaller, filled with this corruption, and eventually when it hit me, the game crashed. And that was one of them. So I want to just say,
there is some back-end stuff going on.
There is a whole lot of it. Now, I verified the game files, I turned on dynamic resolution scaling, and I overclocked my graphics card. Doing that has eliminated the crashing completely.
Okay.
Now, I do want to say they also came out with a patch later on.
Yeah.
Which did fix a lot of the issues. Now, while there are a lot of issues in this game, why do you think... look, you don't just play for 14 hours if you crash every hour.
No, it's...
Now, the game, through all of that shit, has been completely addictive. I would say, and I said this actually, I was talking in chat with people.
Yeah.
Where we were in game playing around, and some guy was like, what do you think about New World? And here's my real, actual answer. As a level 22 character, I'm taking my time. I feel that's the best. This game has about half of the game is a 4 or 5 out of 10. The other half of this game is like an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Okay.
But
so it is so like RuneScape's down here, so it is kind of like that, yeah.
It is very, very RuneScapey, man. I would say the crafting is easily a 10, though. The crafting systems are just intuitive as hell. You know, you have a ton to do. When you really break it down, what you really have in this game is a crafting game with a. I like the combat. I know that's a bit of a juggle there. Some people like it, some people don't. That's understandable. It's a very dichotomy built into it. I think that limiting players' abilities that they can use on one bar is actually good. The reason for it is that by limiting character freedom in a small way, not actually diluting the character itself, but only limiting them in a single situation, which is the combat situation they're in at the moment. Because after combat, you can change your skills around. You can fight a wolf and go, actually, I want to change this so I fight a bear better. You can do that. And you have free reign to do that. But when you're fighting the wolf, you can't. You only have 3 abilities. And you have light and a heavy attack.
Okay.
I think that is a good limitation, because what it means is you can and you will have the tools eventually to solve every issue. It's your choice now to bring the correct tools to each fight, because you can't swap around like that. It brings in this intrinsic value to being prepared.
Right.
And that is the whole game, is be prepared.
Right.
Be prepared for crashes as well, but be prepared nonetheless. Healing potions, mana potions, those are just so good. You have to have food or else you do not regenerate health. If you run out of food, however, and maybe you're just low on health and are really struggling out there, you can gather up rocks on the ground, cut down one tree, and you can build yourself a fireplace. Yeah. And what you can do at that place is you can rest. That is your respawn if you die. If you die, you can go right back to it.
That's the campsites I heard.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can even sit down at another player's campsite.
Really?
Yeah. So you can sit down at another player's campsite if they have one out in the world. Now, nonetheless, I mean, if they take it away, that's going to be an issue for you. But if you're just wanting to sit down and have a rest to regenerate your health or make tools or whatever, you can. You can even make flint arrows. Flint arrows are, I mean, they're the worst arrows you can make. But if you are out of arrows on your bow, you have a solution now. You have ways in the game to become prepared, even if weren't prepared from the start. You can really shift the way the game treats you by treating it before it hits you. Like you're just treating your wounds first.
Right.
And the combat is a little bit difficult sometimes. Some of the enemies don't really read out what they're going to do very well. I say that because like their heavy attacks their abilities that they do are. Right. They're very, very well telegraphed to the player, but there are some of them that are just not.
Right.
Like the enemy standing still for like a second, but then when you go to hit, it hits you and you get staggered. And sometimes it feels very fuck you, but that's part of the game, and part of the game is a little bit of fuck you. A PvP, I've tried that out a little bit, got my ass killed a few times, I'm not gonna lie, but it's been very, very enjoyable. I fought a guy in the forest for like 10 minutes. Like for real, like we were running away from each other, sprinting off into different corners of the wood, trying to track each other down. Like that was very fun. Me and this player spent 10 minutes, and he got me. He did. But it was very fun to even take part in that. That is open world, emergent gameplay that I think a lot of games have gotten away from. You know, it's one of those things that you feel in like Morrowind. where you're and that's one of the games I'd like to compare it to. Is it feels very essency of Morrowind or even Oblivion, RuneScape. It feels like it's brought a lot of different aspects. Some of these mechanics aren't they aren't the best version of these mechanics, and by far. But this game brings so many of them, and they are a choice. That's the thing. Right. You don't have to be a dungeoneer.
Right.
You have really freedom to never put yourself in a dungeon if you really don't want to.
Right.
You can just run around PvPing all day. Right. You can become the best, highest leader of your faction the most as you can. You can spend all your day grinding out those quests like I have. I really like them, even though they're the same damn quest every time.
That's
but
right. Those are the
repeatable
quests.
Yeah, they're repeatable. They're repeatable so much that like you could be bleeding out of the nose from them. And I like that though. That's one of those games that it's almost like they took the most fundamental, basic idea of a lot of these older RPGs, and then they added a world around it. And I know that the game was originally a PvP game.
Yeah.
Amazon really wanted to make a PvP game. They realized that the focus, like for that, wouldn't bring in a lot of people.
Right.
They shifted it around late in development, and there's a lot of leftover scraps. But nonetheless, I would have to give the game, if I had to give a score, which I don't know if I can directly, like, I'd say a 7 or 8 out of 10. You know, it depends on what you want to do, though.
Right.
If you really, really like dungeoneering and that kind of stuff, the game may or may not be for you. Right. And I say that because you really just have to try this game to figure out if it is for you. And there's no other way about it. Like, you can't listen to me talk about it and really get a full-on opinion. This is one of those games that you have to try for yourself.
Right.
And you're only going to know if you like it if you actually try it.
It's a brand new game. It's
an acquired taste
entirely.
For sure.
It's presented as entirely like player choice and how you play it. I will say this, talking about the crashes, I'm gonna guess this right here. Hold up, this right here has got something to do with it.
DirectX 12.
Yeah, I know that existing MMOs are not porting to DirectX 12.
Yeah, I've heard a few things about it.
It's a lot of work. So they may be pioneering something here.
Now, I would like to say that out of all of the things that we've seen with it, Amazon did not learn their lesson from 20 years of MMOs. Not very well. They learned some things, which is good. They did not learn enough.
Right.
They made the server cap for every single server is 2,000 people, maybe 2,500.
Okay.
Every single server in the game I think they did bump it up 500. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's 2,000, 2,500. I'm gonna say 2,500 though. 2,500 people can exist on one server.
Okay.
That is way too small. Way too small. They need to start merging servers, and they need to start making the cap like 10K.
Yeah.
Like I know that sounds like a burden.
Right.
And I understand that it will be. But this game revolves on people, and you have to have more people than just 2,000.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about, I don't know how big this world is, but 2,000 people, it's an MMO. You need a lot of possibility for interaction.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times when I'm playing and I don't see a lot of people flag for PvP. Maybe just a server I'm on.
Right.
But if you added more people, there'd be more interactions like the one where we're dancing around in the fucking forest for 10 minutes. And I really think this game has what it takes to rival World of Warcraft and take its throne. Yeah. As Final Fantasy did.
Right.
I think it really, really does. But
I've seen a lot of stuff on this game where major streamers, other major content creators they're praising it in a way like regardless of whatever problems it has, because, all right, it's new. Like, we all understand it's going to have some issues right now.
Yes.
Unless you're entirely brand new and have never played a game before, you're going to understand it's going to have some issues. The feedback, I said praising, but feedback is probably a better term, I guess. Better word choice here. The feedback that it's getting is that it's going, like, a lot of people think that they believe it's going to, like, join the ranks of the top MMOs that exist already.
Right.
So you got your ESO, you got your Final Fantasy, you got your World of
I
Warcraft.
think that it's going to struggle to get there because they did not finalize the optimization.
And
people
that could
need
be worked out, though.
But I think the main things they need to focus on. If anyone at Amazon's listening, maybe, probably not. I would say these are the things to fix. First, in order, as a player. Now, I understand that as a player, I don't know all the shit that goes in with it.
Right.
But this is what matters most to me.
Right.
Optimization for the game to run better, smoother, and just all around not crash or have as many issues. That is the first thing I hate, because I want to play this game, but I can't because it's a hard time to play it. Like, there's been times when I play it for like an hour and a half, it crashed, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go do something else for a little bit. Yeah. Like, and I don't want to do that. I wanted to keep playing.
Is very annoying. Yes.
You don't want to get pulled out like that. That's not a good way to get pulled out.
No.
I would also say the next thing, I would like to see more PvP and PvE content in some manner. I think games, like making game stuff out of it, like Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
I understand that the game's not instanced at all.
Right.
But Battlegrounds could be a very interesting concept. I think they should add something like the Gurabashi Arena from WoW. Where
I was gonna say an arena type thing.
So you don't know do you know anything about the Gurabashi Arena?
No, I know nothing about WoW.
Right.
And I'm completely okay not being part of cube crawling.
Right. So the thing about Gurabashi was that it is an area inside the game world where you can go into.
Yeah.
And what happens is that both you and everyone around you is now hostile with each other, including your own faction.
Yes.
And it is just one arena. You step in, everyone's hostile, everyone can fight, everyone can enjoy, and there's even stands that you can stand on where you're not hostile.
Gotcha.
And they need to add, I think that would be the best thing to add in for a PvP content.
Yeah.
Is add big arena coliseums, just in like one in every zone.
Yeah.
And add like multiple floors to them or something. I don't know. Like even just a basic one.
Yeah.
Add an area where PvPers, the hardest core of all of them, can just run in and smack each other all day.
Right.
And they will be happy with it.
Yeah.
And what you do is you add a little city outside of it, not even a big, just like a town, like a little camp area. And you add a permanent one there. So people can spawn right there when they die and run right back in.
Right.
And that's it. That is how you make like PvPers happy, or at least in my opinion. Like you just add an area for murder.
See, if you have them walking around the world and they're not seeing anybody else, like if someone is playing this game for PvP and they're walking around a server of 2,000 people or 2,500 people and no one is flagged for PvP, they're gonna hate this game.
They just need to add a coliseum, stick it right wherever the fuck you want, put a goddamn like just one tent with one campfire. Everyone can use it.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that, guess what? There's going to be PvP outside of it.
Yeah.
Because then, guess what? Everyone's got to fight for it. Everyone's got to fight to get to it.
Yeah.
And it's a permanent one. So it never goes away.
Right.
You set your thing there. You're always going to respawn right outside the gate. But guess what? That leads, like, rolling death squads to just wait.
Yeah.
For people to respawn and then kill them. And then, like... You know what I mean? Like, it sounds very, like, degenerate in a way, but that's what PvPers want. Like, hardcore PvPers want to fuck each other over all day.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you're not a hardcore PvPer, maybe you're someone who just enjoys playing PvP, guess what? Just walk on. Walk past the Coliseum. You never have to go there.
Right.
Make it slightly out of the way. Just slightly out of the way.
Right.
And make it very clear on the map that if you go here, this is where shit goes down.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're going to have people who are sitting on the crossroads waiting to ambush the other faction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I really think they should just remove factions from the Colosseums on like 2 of them. Like,
Yeah.
there should be at least 2 Colosseums that have no faction. When you walk in, everyone's an enemy.
Yeah.
And then the other ones are faction based.
I could see that, yeah.
Like, that's fine. I just
Sounds
want
like a good idea.
I want 2 of them where you and your mate walk in, and then you turn to your mate and gun him. And it's like, dude, you dick. And it's like, well, buddy, look. I had to get the points.
Yeah.
Like, and what should be the reward out of it? Just give us tons and tons of XP for weapons. Gold. Like, gold should be the big one. Like, you should feel like you got spoils of war. And at the end, what it is I think they should have a 10-minute cycle on it. Every 10 minutes, whoever is fucking last standing in there,
Yeah.
they get the goddamn chest that spawns right in the middle. And in the middle chest, there's just loot. And like what they could do is just have fire come in and make a small circle, and whoever the last guy in the Coliseum is, he gets the chest. Gates locked, so no one can come in for a second. You got every 10 minutes, you got death. And that one guy gets everything. One guy. You make a mini battle royale with tons and tons of violence and bloodshed throughout 9 minutes, and then in the last minute, everyone dies but one. And that's how you do it. That's how you make PvPers happy. Don't add any enemies into it. Don't have alliance and shit. Make everything in there player versus player.
Right.
Don't let anything get in the way of it.
Right.
Don't even try to nerf people. Don't care. Like, as a developer, put it in and walk away.
Yeah.
Just let emergent gameplay happen, and don't even tell people you added it to the map until they discover it. That's what I would do. Don't say shit. I mean, look, people are gonna find out. Like, they're gonna data mine it a week before you even can put it in.
Yeah.
But as soon as you don't say a thing, because 90% of people won't know.
Yeah.
And then they're either gonna walk in and die, or they're gonna walk in and get a chest and walk out.
Yeah.
And that is where PvPers should hang out. Because right now they're hanging out by bays.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I understand why. But, like, we need a place. We need an area. A dedicated Coliseum built for blood. And make it... And I really think they should make 2 layers. Top layer is for the people who, like, have won enough. So, like, if you win regularly, you get to fight in the second layer.
Yeah.
And like have some point system with it. I don't give a shit. Whatever. You're the exclusive member.
There's always a ranking system with
Yeah.
PvP.
You're an exclusive member. You get to go fight with the big boys.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it should be. Because if you're a big boy, you don't need to be fighting on the little ones. Alright? The little guys, they need a place to get good. And
Right.
you being there is going to fuck them up. You go up with the big boys and you fight it out.
That's how you stop yourself from having to nerf anything.
Yeah.
Game dev, listen.
Yes. The guys with the big battle axes who are just power gaming should power game with power gamers.
Right.
And that's where they'll be happiest.
Yeah.
You know where people who are just wanting to play PvP should go? To just the PvP area.
Yeah.
And then for dungeons and shit, what they need to do is just add world bosses. Just, like, I know that I think there's a few, right? But I want to see, world bosses the size of, like, hills. Like, mountains. I want to see, and I know this sounds, like, ridiculous, but WoW did it. So if WoW can do it, you can do it. Put in just one godlike figure who's like a giant mountain. And he just walks across the earth. He just walks from one point to another point. He turns around and then walks back.
Yeah.
And that's all he does. He's always on a rotation. He just continuously moves. When he's dead, he doesn't respawn for a day. That's it. You get 1 kill. What do you get for that kill? You get a ton of money. You get a ton of shit. You get just all of it. You get gear handed to you. If you were there, You killed him. You got a ton of shit for it. And then if you weren't there, if you weren't on when he died, you can come back tomorrow and kill him. And add a weekly cap to like the amount of shit you can get from him, because you don't want people just like grinding the fuck out of one like massive loot pile, because that's how you imbalance the game. So just add a weekly limit. You got every week. You as if you are a raider or dungeoneer, every week you and your guild make a time to go kill the world boss once.
Yeah,
that's it. You got to kill the world boss once. And how do you limit it? You get a head of him or his tail or something, and you have to turn it in, and that's where you get the rewards.
Right.
And the tail or head, whatever, drops off only once per week. And then next week you can come back. And guess what? If you want to kill him for like some like small loot all day, go ahead. But you're not going to get as much. You get the big pile for doing it once a week, and then that's it. Like just a big ass world boss. I want to see one that takes like 6 guilds to take down. I really do. I think that's what you need to do. When you have a game this big in scale, you need to add scaled things that are as big as it.
So, I see your point. I do, because I've made the statement that I feel like there should be, like in MMOs, it feels, and I'm not currently playing any of them outside of ESO, but ESO is one of the big ones. Right, and there's not like there's random daily dungeons and there's random daily dungeons, and then you get your daily battlegrounds, which I think they fucked up. But you have very minute amounts of like forced group content, right?
Yes.
And like, I'm not saying everything should be in your face forced group like. If I want to play the game by myself, I should be able to. But it is an MMO. Like, if you want to play a single player game, go play a single player game. You know, get fucking Skyrim or whatever. Like,
if you want a single player game, play a single player game, but the MMO should not conform to a single player mindset.
No, it shouldn't. I think there's a place for single player content like questing and stuff like that. That's
absolutely
cool.
There should be things you can do alone.
There should be, but to the other end of things, it is an MMO. Like, it's the first 3 letters in the acronym. It's an MMO. Massively
multiplayer online.
Right. So group content is kind of the point. So, and I get, there's things like ESO, for example, has trials. You can't run trials with 2 people. You can't run trials with 1 person. You can't do that.
No.
Because the mechanics and the damage that's going on, like your damage per second has to be like a ridiculous amount. Like a number that you and another player can't achieve. Like if you have even 4-man groups can't do it.
And that's part of it, is that you should have a restriction to you as a 1 person. Yeah. Because otherwise, the MMO part fades away. Mm-hmm. I think New World, and while I did go a bit extreme with some of it, I think that is the idea. Add shit for, like, multiple guilds have to work together for PvE content. PvE content should not... The issue shouldn't be the content inherently. Right. It should be forming the party. Right. Forming the group. Making the journey. Trekking through the woods, finding and scouting, doing these things. That should be the hard part.
Right.
The content itself is going to be hard, but the difficulty comes from making sure everyone's where they are and they're right where they should be. And then for the PvP shit, it ain't hard to do that. No, just make people kill people. Yeah.
You make a place for it, and it's like, so like this game's been compared to RuneScape, and it ain't just us that's done it. This game's been compared to RuneScape, and RuneScape had the wild.
Yep.
If you went out there, guess what? Somebody might kill you. So you don't belong out there if you know real quick if you belong or not. So yeah, like, but that's where people went when they were playing, and that's what they wanted to do was PvP. Like,
yeah, I think trading as its own thing, like making, crafting, stuff like that.
Yeah.
it should have its own form, like I was talking about with PvP and PvE.
Yeah.
And I think if you really want to do anything with it, the best thing you could do is let people turn their houses into small shops.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what? Look.
Like, I could see that for, like, crafters and stuff.
I don't know if you could go that far with it. Right? I know that would be a lot harder.
Yeah.
But maybe make a town, one town, that, like, guilds have to bid on. That.
Right.
Like, you can bid on it as a person. But essentially, the guild thing from ESO. Steal that idea straight up. And have people bid for locational areas.
Right.
Because a hard set area is something you can't overestimate the power of it.
Right.
Having an area. And once you buy it, you should have to pay fucking interest on it and all kinds of shit. And like eventually, like it's gonna be hard to maintain it. And it gets reset once a month. And there you go. So it's gonna be costly, it's gonna be expensive, but if you are a trading focused player, a crafting focused player, that is where your goal end is.
Right.
If you're a PvPer, you want to become rank 2 of the Colosseum. If you're a PvEer, you want to kill that boss with the other guilds that you've signed off to do it with. If you're a trader, you want to have a shop with your guild.
Right. Right.
They need more focused content for these 3 pinnacles that they've designed that are so good. These 3 pinnacles that they've made need one edge at the end of each of them. And they should cross over. They should. The world boss, when you kill him, should drop crafting materials. The PvP stuff should drop high-end gear. And guess what? The trading shit should give you money, and money is worth its own.
Right. Well, I think we got a good recap of New World's current state. And
as well as Steam Next.
Yeah. And Steam Next, and we just barely scraped the surface with what actually was showcased at Steam Next Fest. So if you're interested, go check it out. There's like recap, pages posted and stuff. I'll try and find a link to it and drop it in the video description and everything.
Nonetheless, thank you all for watching as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably our longest video thus far, but
it has been very, very important for us to get something out, and we haven't been able to talk to you guys for a couple days, so we missed you a bit.
Yeah, and there's a lot, like I kind of forgot that Steam Next was happening, and we want to do a little bit more covering of, because we say that we do it, right, and we do. Like, we talk about it, but it's usually not always like when it's going on. So, Steam Next Fest just happened, for this October. A lot of stuff was showcased. A lot of good stuff was showcased. The few games that we went over was literally just like scraping the surface.
Oh yeah, look, if you guys want to look into it, there's definitely a lot of indie games that are coming out soon. And they've been coming out for a very long time that bring out that old arcade feel, as well as some new things, and as well as a bunch of old games being remastered.
Right.
If you are someone who likes games for the mechanics and the fun that they can provide, if not just the replayability and the massive worlds, that's not always important. Sometimes a self-contained story and a self-contained game is very fun on its own. And I would say that if you're someone who enjoys gaming, support your indie developers because they're making a lot of weird decisions because they got the money they don't have the business over top of them.
Right.
And because of that, they're allowed to experiment, and I think experimentation in games only leads to better games.
Yeah.
So support your indie developers, support the games that you want to support, and play the games you feel like are interesting.
Yep. And one last thing, just to point out, because of this event, because of Steam Next Fest that just happened, a lot of games on Steam that were showcased are currently on sale. New World, as you can see, right in here is not.
Right.
Neither of them are, but like, it's, I don't know. It's Amazon, but
I will also say that the Steam Winter Sale will be coming up soon.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to buy some games a little bit cheaper, as well as the fall sale that's coming up soon, I'm sure.
Well, a lot of this stuff is running through. Like, I know you mentioned like an October 14th day, but most of this stuff is running through like close to the end of the month.
Yeah.
So if there's some games that got showcased and you're looking at it, it's probably a good time to go ahead and pick it up. Like, if you can.
Now, 2020 wasn't a great year for video games due to the situation that happened globally.
Yeah.
But 2021 seems to be the pickup time.
Yeah.
And all these games are coming out now. And I would say that we have a lot to look forward to as gamers this holiday season.
Yeah, absolutely. But,
yeah, thank you all for watching. This has been Spy and Jack here. And, if you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. As well as, look at our Reddit page and Twitter page if you're so inclined.
Yep.
We also post a lot of things up on those as well, and we've been more active on them as well. As of recently, Jack's been really doing a lot up on the Twitter. If you want to interact with us directly, you can leave a comment down below or message us on any of the other platforms we're on. We're always welcome to hear feedback from our community, and we are very grateful for every single one of you.
Absolutely.
And thank you all for watching. This has been Spy and Jack, and we're signing off.
See you guys in the next video.
See ya.